Okay, first things first. The biggest, and I mean biggest challenge when you're studying an ecosystem is just its sheer size and complexity. For scientists who are trying to measure biodiversity, and that's just a way of saying the variety of life in one spot, trying to count every single plant, every animal, every insect, it's completely impossible.
Seriously, just take a look at this field. Imagine if I asked you to count not just every single plant, but every different kind of plant in this entire area. I mean, where would you even start? It's a totally mind-boggling problem, right? But this is exactly the kind of puzzle ecologists have to figure out every single day.
Yeah, trying to get a perfect 100% accurate count, it would take an absolutely unbelievable amount of time and money. But here's the thing, science runs on data. So the real question is, how do you get a reliable picture of a whole ecosystem without, spending years on your hands and knees?
And the answer is actually a really clever and honestly pretty elegant method called sampling. The idea is simple. Instead of trying to count everything, ecologists just study a small, representative piece of an ecosystem. Then, they use the data from that small piece to make a really good estimate of what's going on in the entire area. It's an absolutely fundamental technique in ecology.
All right, so let's start with the easy stuff. Or, the stuff that doesn't run away when you get close. We're talking about plants, fungi, or even super slow-moving animals like barnacles. For these guys, ecologists have a whole specific set of tools designed to measure them right where they sit.
Okay, so their number one most common tool is something called a quadrat. And really, in its simplest form, it's just a square frame. A lot of the time, it's 1 meter by 1 meter. You just place it on the ground and boom, you've created a small, defined sample area inside that much bigger habitat.
But here's where the real magic happens. You add a grid to that frame. It's such a simple little addition, but it makes it so much easier to estimate something they call percentage cover. And all that means is, well, how much of the ground is covered by one particular species of plant. And the process itself is wonderfully simple. You just place the quadrat down. Then, for each type of plant, you count up the number of little squares that are more than half filled by that plant. It's that easy. And if your grid has, say, 100 squares, then each little square represents exactly 1% of the total area. So for example, if we look at species B here, that's the one in green, we can see it covers about 7 of those 100 squares. So that gives us an estimated coverage of, you guessed it, 7% for this particular sample.
And what about species A, the yellow one? Well, that one covers about 9 squares. And just like that, we've got a real number, 9% coverage. Now you can see how by taking a whole bunch of these samples all over the field, ecologists can start to build a really reliable picture of the whole area.
Okay, but what if you want to see how an ecosystem changes as you move across it? Like going from the shady edge of a forest out into a bright sunny field? For that, ecologists use something called a transect. And it's really just a line, like a long tape measure, that you lay across the ground. Then, you place your quadrats at regular spots along that line to see how the plants and things change.
Hey, do you like this content? Did you learn something new today? Then don't forget to make a donation so we can continue creating more content like this. In the description, you'll find a link to make your donation. Thank you.
All right, so plants are one thing, but what about all the animals that crawl and fly and scurry away the second you get close? Yeah, that requires a totally different approach. You can't just plop a box down on them, you actually have to catch them.
So a classic tool for this is the pitfall trap. It's designed to catch all those small invertebrates. Think beetles, spiders, the stuff that crawls along the ground. And it's pretty much as simple as it sounds. You just take a container, like a cup, and bury it in the ground so that the rim is perfectly flush with the soil.
And how does it work? Well, it's incredibly simple. An unsuspecting little bug just walks along, minding its own business, and oops, falls right in. Then the scientists just have to come back and check the traps regularly to get a great snapshot of what's crawling around on the forest floor.
So once you've caught your tiny little creatures, how do you actually get them out of the trap or maybe off a plant so you can get a closer look? Well, for this, you might use one of the most wonderfully named tools in all of science, a pooter.
Basically, it works like a tiny, human-powered vacuum. You suck on one tube, and that creates suction in the other tube, pulling a little insect safely into the collection jar. And this is the most important part, there's a fine mesh filter on the mouthpiece that makes sure you're only inhaling air and not, a mouthful of ants.
Okay, so having all the right tools is great, but that's really only half the battle. A massive part of good ecological science is the strategy. It's all about deciding where to place your traps and your quadrats so you get the most meaningful data possible.
And this basically boils down to two main strategies. First up, you've got random sampling. This is where you might use a random number generator to pick coordinates for your samples. The whole point is to make sure that every single spot has an equal chance of being picked. This is awesome for getting a true, unbiased look at a big, mostly uniform area. Then, on the other hand, you have systematic sampling. This is where you take samples at regular set intervals, like, say, every 2 meters along one of those transect lines we talked about. This method is perfect when you want to track how an ecosystem changes along a specific path or gradient.
And you can see these two strategies in action right here. On the left, you've got random quadrats just scattered across a field to get a good general overview. But on the right, you can see a transact being used to systematically sample, moving away from a road. This is the perfect way to investigate, say, the impact that road is having on the plants nearby. So at the end of the day, it's the scientific question you're asking that really determines which strategy you're going to use.
So, with all these different tools and strategies, how on earth do you decide what's best for the job? Well, it turns out every single method comes with its own list of pros and cons.
Yeah, there are always trade-offs. Take quadrats and transects. They're super quick, cheap, and easy to carry around. The downside? Their accuracy really depends on taking enough samples to get a clear picture. And what about pitfall traps? Well, they're also inexpensive and super easy to set up, but they have a pretty big drawback. They often kill the little critters they collect, which means you're actually removing them from the ecosystem. Plus, they tend to catch more active insects, which can kind of skew your data. It just goes to show you, there's no single perfect tool. It's always about picking the right tool for the question you're trying to answer.
And there you have it, a quick tour of the ecologist's basic toolkit. It's these simple, yet really powerful methods that allow us to get a glimpse into the vast complexity of the natural world, one small sample at a time. Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? If you had these tools, what sort of story could your own backyard tell?
Hey, do you like this content? Did you learn something new today? Then don't forget to make a donation so we can continue creating more content like this. In the description, you'll find a link to make your donation. Thank you.